Recording progress. This is a module called the three responses to the three circles. So what I do is just right up here, three responses to the three circles. And so I just circle, spell circles there. It's important. And then just put a box around them just like that. And then tell you what, just put a line all the way across like this, and then another line down here, and then put a line down here, and then a line down here. Now, let me say a couple things before I jump in. This tool, these three responses, obviously does not cover the spectrum of all the different things you can hear to the three circles. However, what we have found is that if you get people going in terms of the person sharing the gospel with just a few simple questions or statements based on what they say, if you can just get them going in the right direction, a tool that trains them to get the right direction, this really cool thing happens. The Holy Spirit shows up and begins to give you the other words to fill in. So this is basically the three responses that we find to the three circles. The first one is I'm going to, and people do this a couple different ways. I'm going to put a circle over here. We use the heart, obviously, and someone says, oh, I'm over here. I'm in a restored relationship. So there's a couple ways we can say that they respond and go, I'm a believer, or they do the old one, oh, I go to church. And so that's the typical response that we get, or not typical, but when someone says, oh, I'm over here, or I'm a new creation, or whatever the case may be. By the way, when they say I go to church, I always respond, that's not, I never mentioned church once in this diagram. But anyway, what we do when we get this response, just to kind of get you going, is we tell them, tell your story. Tell me your story. So it gets them talking. And so you begin to hear, well, tell me how you got to that conclusion, right? What led to that? So tell me your story. Very simple. And it gets them talking. And then based on that, you can really begin to diagnose whether they really truly are a believer or just aren't entering that. So after that, number two, we ask this question: are you currently part of a small group where you are reading the Bible and praying with other people? Something to that effect. So it's a real simple question. Notice I don't say church because everybody has a church. This is distinctive. Are you part of a small group where people are reading the Bible, praying for you, and taking and caring for you? Do you have anything like that in your life? And almost, I'm in the 90 percentile. Most people will say no. And then at that point, you're offering healthy community. We assume if you're out sharing the gospel, you're part of a healthy small group. You invite them to your group. If they go, yes, I am, we meet every Tuesday or Sunday morning or whatever, then you follow that question up with, great. Do you know how to share the gospel? Then you offer to train them. You'll notice there's no way out. There's always a follow-up question. There's always something else we can do. don't dismiss this pattern right here. Tell me your story, which can create all kinds of churn and other things. Then once you go, well, that's great. Let me tell you, are you currently part of a group where you're reading the Bible, studying, and praying with other people? They say no, then we're offering them healthy community. They're a disconnected believer at best. If yes, go ahead. Well, let me ask you a quick question. Do you know how to go out and share the gospel with people one on one? Would you be open to being trained? So that's simply that how we follow that. It just gets you going. Realize there's a lot more to that thing than here, but just will get you going. Now, the more other common response that we get, I'm going to put this is the arrow from God's design over to brokenness. We get people who answer. I'm going to put just a guy right here. They're in the middle. I'm in the middle, and they say something to the effect of, "I'm trying to get over here. I'm trying," uh, or something to that effect. Um, which chances are this person is, and so basically at that point, let me just say, not to confuse you, I go, well, why do you say that? Then kind of self-diagnose that, and then from there, you're gonna realize that typically, this is what I say. Typically, when I hear that response, it means that you have heard this message before, but you are struggling with this surrender and following Jesus' peace. And almost all of them agree because now the people that answer this generally are not any, almost 99% of the time. So I follow that. Would you like to learn how to follow Jesus Lord? So something's along those lines. So you're inviting them literally into some type of discipling one-on-one relationship or into a group where they can learn how to follow. So that's typically how that conversation goes. And I also mentioned the reason that they're struggling with surrender and following and lordship is that growing and following Jesus is always a community project. It's rarely long term a solo. So so we kind of follow that pattern, and then the last response we typically get almost every time we get out is, "I'm in brokenness." And the question I ask, do you want to stay there? Sorry. Do you want to stay there? So they might go yes, or they might go no. If yes, You just leave them the gospel picture and your contact information. It's called, we say, we leave breadcrumbs. I'll say more about that in just a second. If they say no, I follow up with a question. What is keeping you get a smaller pen here, guys? Sorry, I usually do. What is keeping you from believing and surrendering to Jesus today? And then typically at that point, and they say nothing, I have them verbally affirm the three circles and then set up a time to meet. And you begin the process. All right. So, real simply, I'm going to do it on a little cleaner sheet of paper. This is the basic responses we have to the three circles. I'm a believer, I've surrendered, or I go to church, I'm in the middle, or I'm in brokenness. And I realize this doesn't always follow this exact script, but again, what we have found is if you can get somebody going in terms of get them just initial response, what should I say back to that? It really gets the ball rolling. So the way we typically train this is we just look to somebody, get my buddy, go, hey, when someone says this, this is what I do. You walk them through it. And then you just work your way over. So when we train somebody, you're not actually role playing this. You're just saying, hey, this is what we do. And somebody gives this response. And then we move over, do the same thing. We train our buddy on this, and then we train them. Almost every time I've gone out into the harvest, which is about once a week, I will see one of these three responses and they will literally play out just exactly like this. So, three responses to actually, it should be three responses to the three circles. All right. If you have any questions, just let me know.